When climbing hills, select a low gear. Shift your weight forward on the seat and lean forward. This puts more weight on the front wheels and helps to keep them on the ground. Standing up and leaning forward will apply more weight in a downwards direction. Start practicing with gentle slopes. Never try riding up a hill that seems too steep for your ability. Always slow down before you reach the top of the hill. You never know what may be on the other side. Downhill. It's best to come down the slope with the ATV pointing straight downhill. Avoid riding across the face of a hill or angles or cattle tracks that would cause the vehicle to lean sharply to one side. Always look ahead to plan out a safe path. Shift into a low gear and move your weight back to the rear of the seat. Your arms should be fully extended. Go downhill slowly with the throttle closed. Use the rear brake pedal to control your speed. Avoid using the front brake hard or abruptly when going downhill. Using a lower gear gives you more control, while it reduces wear on the brakes. Remember, your brakes are less effective on surfaces like wet grass, wet clay, gravel or snow. Riding on hills or slopes is different from riding in level terrain. Take extra care when riding on any hill. Practice on easy slopes before trying more difficult terrain. To maintain your balance and stability while riding across a slope, move your body off the center of the seat and lean toward the uphill side of the ATV. On loose or slippery surfaces, you may also need to steer slightly uphill to maintain a straight course. Never ride across a hill that is too steep, slippery, or rough. You may have to shift more weight and lean more when making a turn on a slope. When parking your ATV, try to find a level parking area. After coming to a complete stop, hold the brakes and shift into neutral. If parking on a hill, park sideways. Turn the front wheels uphill and dismount on the high side. To set the parking brake, squeeze the rear brake lever and lock it with the lock lever. Turn the ignition switch to off. If you are finished riding for the day, switch the fuel valve to the off position. When riding off-road or riding across a farm, you may not always be able to see what kind of obstacles or rough terrain may be ahead. The owner's manual has specific recommendations for handling your ATV in rough situations. Read this material carefully. While this video will not cover all of these situations in detail, here are some general recommendations for riding in more difficult terrain. Always be on the lookout for bumps, holes, ruts, or other obstacles in your path. Slow down and evaluate your situation whilst crossing a paddock. On slippery surfaces, apply the brakes lightly and try and plan your turn so you don't have to brake hard while cornering. On steeper ascents, select the correct gear. Make sure you have a good running start and keep your weight forward. Many ATVs can cross rivers, streams and fords that can be quite deep. Before crossing a stream, make sure that the water is not too deep or the current too fast. The brakes on most ATVs are fully sealed. However, anytime you ride through water, it's a good idea to test the brakes afterwards. ATVs are also good for use on ice and snow. But when you travel across these or any slippery surface, keep your speed down to maintain complete control. If your visibility is limited by hills, trees, tall grass, rain, snow, or dust from another vehicle, slow down. The most important thing to remember is don't attempt riding in difficult terrain until you're comfortable with the vehicle and confident in your ability.